happy to announce the launch of our new logo. We have evolved since our incorporation in 1997, and it is time to refresh our new look to reflect who we are today. Before I reveal our new look, however, walk with me while I take you through our journey of the last 25 years. Trust Bank was incorporated on July 3rd, 1997 and began operations on October 1st, 1997. Following the collapse of the parent company of its predecessor, Meridian, the CBG stepped in and recapitalized the bank and held the shares in trust, thus the name Trust Bank. In 1999, the first investors who responded to the IPO and paid $1.50 per share received their maiden dividend of 50 bututs per share. In 2000, the bank fully paid back its investment by declaring another dividend of $1.20 bututs per share, making it a cumulative dividend per share of $1.70, which was 20 bututs above the purchase price. Between 2002 to date, share capital has increased from $27 million to $200 million, indicating that the bank has grown organically by plowing back profits to increase capital, while at the same time paying dividends to shareholders. The bank was listed on the Ghana Stock Exchange in November 2002, being the first ever cross-border listing in the sub-region. Now let's talk about awards. The bank was awarded the insignia of the National Order of the Republic of the Gambia, ORG, in the year 2010 by His Excellency the President of the Republic of the Gambia. During the past years, the bank has received so many national and international awards. Banker Magazine, 6 times. Global Finance, 6 times. Gambia Chamber of Commerce and Industry, 5 times. We began operations with 3 branches. Now, we have 18 branches and 20 ATMs and counting. On digital services, mobile app, check. Online banking, check. Transaction alerts, check. Watch this space. We've got more coming. Creating employment, yes, we've got that too. 400 and counting. And we take great care of our people too. Medical insurance, life insurance, private and state pensions, annual pilgrimages for both Muslims and Christians, training, yes, we do them all. One team, one family, one goal. That's the Trust Bank spirit. On corporate social responsibility, we have spent over $50 million in various causes. We care, and so we share. Over the years, we have paid over $1.6 billion to our shareholders, which translates to a whopping $20 per share and counting. Phenomenal returns for our shareholders who purchased at $1.50. Corporate taxes, over $1 billion is paid. Our journey started with a vision to create the kind of company that delivers quality services and innovative products with an inspired team dedicated to serving our customers, our environment, and our communities at large in the most caring manner. We remain fully committed to delivering excellent services to each of our stakeholders, customers, employees, shareholders, and partners. So, we remain true to who we have always been. As we look forward to greater achievements, we are rebranding to reflect who we are today and the future that we inspire. Our new logo has been designed to visually demonstrate our Gambian heritage and the sophisticated nature of the bank. We are moving away from the navy and gold-colored parallelogram-shaped logo to our baobab tree with a rising sun in the background. The striking outline of a baobab tree at sunrise is a familiar sight to anyone who has spent time in the Gambia. Our new logo and visual identity are inspired by our core values and spirit of being a pioneer in providing a unique banking experience. It is a completely new look that better matches the transformation we have made as a company. But we remain your Trust Bank. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my singular honor to present to you our new logo and corporate identity.
I hope you understand now.
Yes.
This is your withholding tax certificate.
Thank you.
Sorry, sir. Give me a few minutes. Let me finish with her. I am not here to sit. I received an alert from my bank. It's like you made a mistake.
The amount transferred to my account is different from the amount on the invoice I issued to you.
No, there is no mistake. We deducted 10% as withholding tax.
Withholding what? In fact, what is withholding tax?
As he just told me, withholding tax on contract payments is a deduction from payment made to contractors for carrying out work, supply of labor or materials, and or provision of technical or consultancy services. 10% is withheld for Gambian residents and 15% for non-Gambian residents. The contractees remits the amount withheld to the nearest Njie tax office in the month of deduction or on or before the 15th of the following month.
What's my interest?
You will be issued a certificate which you should take to Njie when you go to pay your quarterly and annual tax.
What happens to the 10% deducted from my invoice?
That 10% will be less from your tax liability.
So it means the 10% is an advance payment of my tax liability. And I only pay the difference of my tax due for my quarterly and annual payment.
Correct, sir.
Buba, you should have told me this. We all know for any meaningful development to take place in a country, we must pay our taxes.
And on time.
This information is from the Gambia Revenue Authority. For more detailed information about your withholding tax obligation, please visit any of the nearest Njie offices. The Gambia Revenue Authority, collecting revenue for national development.
For the first time in the history of the Gambia, Gambia Printing Publishing Corporation proudly introduces the Biliomatic exercise book printing machine. The machine has the capacity to print more than 20,000 books per hour. Yes, 20,000 books per hour. It also prints magazines, newspapers, calendars, flyers, normal books and all kinds of printed documents plus items at affordable prices. With the Biliomatic printing machine, GPPC can now render high quality and non-size restricted printing service supply across the sub-region. Rush now and partner with GPPC for all your public and private printing service needs. Print with us today and you'd be offered highly professional, reliable and efficient service delivery by our team of experts. The Gambia Printing and Publishing Corporation is here to meet all demands and is reliable at all times. For more info, contact us on 437-4493 or 437-4402. GPPC is Gambian and it's yours.
Airport Residency Estate is a gated community located in Old Yundum, proudly developed by Swami India, perfect for all looking for a quiet life with luxury amenities within an enclosed setting. When talking about the benefits of living in a gated community, safety and security is top on the list. They allow extra privacy, take away the hustle of unwelcome solicitors, and create a safe haven for children to play in a trusted environment without traffic or speedy vehicles. A great sense of community develops through the meeting at a controlled communal leisure facilities, offering an integrated lifestyle. A green environment and well-managed communal areas are keys to higher home standards, elevated quality of life, and better property value should you consider home reinvestment in the future. Added to all is the location, just next to the airport and reconstructed main road, yet tucked in the tranquility of nature. Our purpose is one, your satisfaction. Contact us. Let us help you build your dream home in the Gambia.
This season on Kerr Fatou.
The reason I have always called for a national dialogue is because A government must be responsive to the needs of its people.
Fatou.
Tell you one thing, if I'm as an individual, if I know that there is somebody that I definitely wrong, I will be bold enough. I will go to the person. I will appeal to him and apologize him.
I have to make decisions today because I don't make decisions lightly. I investigate. I do my research. I get the facts. I call the experts. I summon meetings. I get the technicians. Then I reflect and I make a decision.
Why did you lose the election?
Well, we lost the election because of fitna registration. We had evidence of people being registered before the opening of the registration.
Hello and welcome to this special interview. It's another Thursday and of course another Kerr Fatou, and today I'm out of my studios but I'm at the People's House, the National Assembly, and I am speaking to the Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly, Honorable Seedy Njie. It's an honor to have you on my platform, Honorable Seedy.
Thank you very much. Pleasure.
Dawon nga ma de, lu xew?
No, not really.
It's been a while. We have spoken a couple of times on Kerr Fatou, but since you became the Speaker, Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly, we have not spoken. This is the first time. First, I want us to, it's been 1 year, some months since you became the Deputy Speaker of the Assembly. Take us through, since you guys took over, what has been the major achievements that this National Assembly has taken over since you guys took over?
Thank you very much. Hello, viewers. It has been 1 year plus since we took over as leaders of the National Assembly. We've achieved a lot. You know, National Assembly's primary responsibility is representations, oversight, and legislation. And over the last 12 months and more, the Assembly have done a lot of work behind the scene, among which various committees, select committees and standing committees of the National Assembly from defense and security, education, human rights, health, agriculture, environment, among other committees have been rolling out to the length and breadth of the country in their oversight functions, looking at areas under their dockets in view of improving them, and also looking at the national budget. They've also looked at bills as they are committed to their charge with view of improving them and also tabling it before the National Assembly. We have also enacted a lot of bills. Some have been passed and some are in advanced stage, and of course others also at the various level of Parliament in tandem with the procedures of the National Assembly. 2023-2022 has been a huge success for the National Assembly. Primarily, for instance, during the budget bilaterals between sectors and also committees of the National Assembly. For example, the Select Committee on Health, Select Committee on Education, Select Committee on Agriculture, Standing Committee on Defense and Security, we are able to, as a result of their oversight visit throughout the country, we are able to engage all members of the National Assembly, irrespective of our political leaning or affiliations. We are able to look at the budget holistically and with a unified voice. And so they were able to make some cross-cutting savings and also reallocated some of those funds. For example, like the Committee on Defense and Security, the whole House were able to allocate some fund to them for defense and security in the Gambia Armed Forces, the police and others. And the objective or the end result is to improve the welfare and well-being of members of the security and communities as a whole, agriculture, health, education, and environment, and other sectors alike. In addition to that, we've passed very important pieces of legislation. For example, we have the prohibitions of torture bill have been passed. We also have the mutual legal assistance in criminal matters have been passed. We also passed the state-owned enterprise, which have very vital role to play in the economy of this country, especially the state-owned enterprise is linked to a lot of budgetary support as far as the National Assembly, the country is concerned, and also contribution to our GDP.
Now, talking about, I'll still go back to the budget session. During the budget session, a lot of people felt disappointed with the fact that sectors like agriculture, health, and education, even though, yes, we have seen a little increment, but there was still a lot more that could have been given to these departments to be able to, because if we don't have a good agriculture department, if we don't have resources allocated to the agriculture sector, we will still continue to import food and we will not be able to. That is why we are having hike in prices right now. Why is the National Assembly not doing the right thing by allocating enough resources to these sectors like agriculture, health, and education?
Yeah, they are right to a certain extent in their opinion that education, agriculture, and health deserve huge budgetary allocations. But remember, we are a tax-based economy, and we depend largely on tax and also on donor funding and on grants and loans. And as such, we have the basket is very minimal. It's not to the satisfactions of every Gambian. As the adage, if wishes were horses, beggars would have right on. It is the wish of government and members of the National Assembly and all the machinery of state to give enough resources to each sector, not only education, agriculture, health, but defense, security, communication, infrastructure, works, environment, all the sectors. What they will request is beyond what we have. But if you look at the agricultural sector, education and health, they have the biggest share of the national budget. And so far so good, that's what is limited to what government can afford. And in fact, it has a lot of also negative impact on the budget because if you don't receive taxes or you don't receive grants or budgetary support, it's also affect the implementation of the proposed budget. So with mega resources, as little as it is and as difficult as it is, government is able to commit a good number of funds to agriculture with view of improving productions and productivity. And because government takes into account that we rely on food, on rice, basic commodities, rice, flour, sugar that people consume, and it takes huge chunks of money. And government, its subsidies and also tax exemptions, among a host of other issues also, is costing the country millions or billions of dollars annually to get those commodities to the country for people to. What could be done primarily is probably to increase mechanizations and to invest hugely on rice productions and productivity, and as well as probably sugarcane, and also revamped the groundnut subsector so that when you get the raw materials, you will also process it, produce it, and also that will minimize. And for example, in every month, government spend or lose millions of dollars in subsidies for rice consumptions in the country. If we are able to have a massive investment in rice productions, that will go a long way in cushioning up the national budget. Now, when you talk about agriculture, health, the health will tell you a healthy nation is a wealthy nation. If you are not in a good state of health, you won't be able to go to the farm. But the agriculturist also will tell you, if you don't eat, you will not be healthy. So these are, they are interlinked. And they
is it that not why we should look at our budget holistically and just not look at what government is proposing, but as an oversight body, look at it properly and look at the interest of the nation? For example, when you look at embassies, the kind of money that is spent on the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, opening up embassies and taking so many staff to those embassies, that kind of money, a lot of it can be pumped into these sectors. When you look at also travels, during the COVID, a lot of people stayed home and the country moved, because even now in the international world, what you see is people working from home, because during the COVID, people used those mechanisms and it worked.
Okay, maybe hold on there. Let me respond then. Before I forget, because I'm not noting down.
Yeah.
Yes, you see, when you looked at the COVID, during the COVID period, because a lot of restrictions were done, and government, what they did was all the monies which were allocated for travels and other expenditures, government mobilized all those resources and cushioned the economy, and as well as also got basic commodities and distributed across the length and breadth of the country. I agree on those things. But you know, as a country and as a nation, each sector is important. One sector cannot go without the other. For example, we talked about the embassies. The Gambia is a member of the global body. We are not an island within the Committee of Nations. We need to bolster and strengthen our relationship with countries, multilaterals, and international organizations. That will help also to bring in more support for the national budget.
But must we take 100 people to the United Nations?
No.
And pay them all per diems?
No. You know, that is, it's not about in the embassies. Now you're talking about travels.
Yeah.
For example, when annually there is this international conclave at the United Nations headquarters, what happens usually, you have a conference of world leaders. And prior to world leaders, also is conference of experts, ministers, and other technicians and technocrats. Sometimes also government delegations are funded by other international organizations. You know, you have the UNDP, the United Nations systems, and other organizations that are involved and engaged. In fact, not only government goes to UN annually, civil society, members of the media, members of other organizations. It's a global summit. And government participation in those forums are key, are very, very important, because we need our international partners, not only the United Nations, but other organizations that will help us and journey with us towards attaining our socio-economic development. So those things, some of those things are unavoidable. We cannot avoid some of them. In fact, now government, what they do is they only travel when necessary. Look at almost the whole of 2023. How many times have the president traveled?
A lot.
No.
A lot.
No. He have not even traveled.
It's more than 5 actually.
No.
Yes, he's already. President was in Nigeria this week.
Yes.
Last week he was in Ivory Coast. Before that, yes, he was in Ivory Coast last week.
He wasn't in Ivory Coast last week.
No, where was he before the elections?
No.
He was somewhere before the elections.
The whole of 2023.
The president has traveled more than 5 times.
No. The whole of 2023, he have not traveled more than 2 or 3 times.
No.
I'm telling you.
No.
I am telling you.
Okay, I mean the viewers
he have not traveled the whole of half of the year.
Okay.
President Barrow have not traveled.
I do know
In
that
fact,
the president was
also,
in Nigeria for the inauguration.
Yeah, he's
the
there.
President, the president was before the elections. The president was in.
He only
was
traveled
somewhere in Ivory Coast.
Yeah,
Tell
he
me.
only traveled to Ivory Coast and Nigeria. He have not traveled. It's not accurate to say 5.
He has not traveled since then. These are the only travels
since 2023. Yeah, of course.
From January.
I am telling
These
you.
are the only travels.
I am telling you.
Okay.
He only traveled when necessary. For example, there's an extraordinary emergency ECOWAS.
He was in ECOWAS recently this year.
Wait, let me tell you.
Okay.
He only traveled when there is an important, most important, like ECOWAS extraordinary or emergency meetings of ECOWAS.
Yeah.
He have no. In fact, he is still in terms of travel in the whole world.
I know President Barrow does.
He travel list. He does not travel because he want to cut cost. That's what people know. You go to all these countries, you know, you're in the media.
Yeah.
You see how presidents travel, but he have not. He decided to do that to minimize and to reduce cost. And when he is traveling, you see his entourage compared to other prime ministers or vice president, they have more entourage than the president of the Gambia. The records are there. You see, it's not about because I am anti-government or I am not pro-government, but we have to look at the facts. He's the only president who will travel with less number of people globally. You can check. The facts are there.
Not at the United Nations.
I am at the United Nations.
The United States the president traveled with over 80 people, including political advisors who were not at any meetings.
That is not accurate.
What was Dusano doing at the United Nations?
Wait.
What was the presidential advisor doing at the United Nations?
Let me finish.
Since we're talking about travel.
No, let me finish. That is not accurate. He have never traveled.
I saw the list. It was over 80 people.
Let me comment, please. That list must have not. It is not an official list. Okay. President Barrow have never, and he will never travel with 80 delegates.
Okay.
Never. You see, I told you, the United Nations every year they send a lot of invitations throughout the world, and people travel, hundreds of people in various countries, including Gambia, not at the expense of government. Many people, I'm sure you are privy to most people. Dusano, he's an office holder, he's an advisor to the president, like any other office holder. When the president is moving, he can travel with any other people that has been selected to travel to accompany the president, based on a roster. So what I'm saying, now on the issue of foreign embassies, this thing is important. We need bilateral and multilateral and its missions in abroad that will represent the country and negotiate for and on behalf of government. And more often than not, most of these embassies, if you look at the current government, they have cut costs on the embassies and they downsize most embassies in the world with view of cutting cost. Now, on other sectors, like the national budget, when the budget came as proposed, the last budget, we looked at it. For example, let me just use defense and security as an example. The assembly, following all the cuts they made, they gave us $40 million. And following our visit to various military institutions, we thought those monies, we will allocate them to various items. For example, anyway, that's security. I don't want to go.
Okay.
I don't want to go in detail. So when we did the presentations, the National Assembly thought it was important. The Army Command, the Police Command, and the Fire and Rescue Service, we went around. And I may not go to the Army, but for example, the Fire and Rescue Service, look at the fire station at Churchillstown.
Yeah.
I went there with members of the Standing Committee on Defense and Security. And we thought there is a need to improve the condition of the Fire and Rescue Service. And among those monies, we cut somewhere else, and the National Assembly gave the Standing Committee on Defense and Security some amount of money to renovate that. And they will do the renovation soon, and some other military installations and institutions in the country. So the National Assembly as a body, I mean, when I talked about National Assembly, it's everybody, all members of the National Assembly. They have done justice to this and to ensure that following their various oversight visits, will make best use of it and then to commit resources to alleviating those issues that they raise.
Now, I mean, I still believe, I'm a biggest fan of Dusano, but I still believe he should not be at the UN. And I want to say that I still don't agree on what you advance when it comes to that.
Yeah, that's your opinion.
I'm a big fan of him.
You are entitled to your opinion,
yeah.
But he's he's an advisor on political matters, and like any other advisor or any other position holder who would one day or the other join the list to accompany His Excellency the President.
And the President has a prerogative to select anybody. Now, still at the National Assembly, a lot of people say this is the worst assembly since when it comes to looking at the country as a whole and approving bills. People believe it's more about a political section. When stuff comes to the National Assembly, it depends on where my political party is. For example, if the UDP believes this does not advance their interests, they vote against it. If NPP believes this doesn't advance the interests of my party, they vote against it. Is that a true reflection of the current National Assembly?
That is not accurate. That is false. The National Assembly, as an institution, parliament around the world, is the highest political office beside the office of the president. In any country, it's a political institution. But when members of parliament come to parliament, they perform their duties based on national interest. Depending on what you think or in your opinion you believe is national interest and the other person, and we trade on those things. And this parliament has been committed to the welfare of the Gambian people, and they have been working bipartisan. For example, we had amendment of the local government amendment bill, which was sponsored and tabled by the member for Birkama North and the minority leader. And all of us together, we joined hands together and they looked at it in the best interest of the nations and we passed it.
Yeah.
And when bills comes also based on the national interest, we all looked at it and then trade on the provisions or amendment or proposals and it passed. We have the state-owned enterprise, as I talked about. We talked about the Local Government Amendment Act. We talked about the mutual legal assistance in criminal laws. We talked about the prohibition of torture, and among a host of other issues. Addition also to treaties, agreements, table on motions by members of cabinet for and on behalf of the government of the Republic of the Gambia. And most of these things, we have a bipartisan passage. So, and also when you looked at, most importantly, fundamentally, the oversight functions of members of the National Assembly, it comprises all members of political device, as far as a member of parliament, and members of the National Assembly has been discharging their duties without fear or favor, affection or ill will, and irrespective of political affiliations. There are people, of course, they've been following in the media. Sometimes because of people's perceptions or people's views and their contributions, you think you are not in line of that contributions. But the members of the National Assembly have been performing extremely well. These legislative sessions have been equal to the task.
Now, the reason why some of these things came up is how some of the sessions have been handled. For example, during the AKI question and answer with the Ministry of Health, this was something that the whole nation grieved. There was no division, whether government or opposition or NGOs or anybody, because nobody wanted our children to die in those ways. But when the minister came, we saw National Assembly members defending government position when it comes, because obviously government is the provider of health services, right? The medical board was the one discharged with duties to look at what medication come in. When the blame comes, it goes to them. When we saw people defending that, without thinking about that woman in Lamen who lost her child, without thinking about that woman in Sarabojo losing her child, that sounded a little insensitive. And people thought that was wrong on the people's representative defending a minister just because they wanted to be political.
Let's get things right first. The minister was not accused or was not found of killing any individual, directly or indirectly. It's not about a minister. It's about an unfortunate thing that happened to the country. And preliminary suggesting as a result of consumption of those drugs that were believed to probably have some contaminated issues that led to them developing AKI and resulting into the death of about, yes, let's say dozens of.
Not dozens, over.
I said dozens.
Dozens,
of kids.
okay.
Not 1 dozen.
Yes, dozens.
Because I don't have the exact figure.
Yeah.
It's very unfortunate. And all members of the National Assembly, including the executive and every Gambian, was grief, and it's an unfortunate thing, and it could have happened to any child in this country. And what we could have done, and what the government and the National Assembly wanted was to put a stop to it. And government did all they could within their means to put a stop to it. And there was investigation panel set up by government, and also the National Assembly set up a committee, as the Committee of Health, especially the National Assembly Select Committee on Health, also to look into the matter, and they report to Parliament. Government also came in and report to Parliament. Now, based on fact findings, the issues that emanated from the deliberations of members of the National Assembly, so members of Parliament were debating based on those issues. And there is no, in any point in time, where a member of the National Assembly enjoyed or appreciated or was happy that the unfortunate incident happened. Nobody. Every member of the National Assembly condemned the issue. Where where they have their differences is how do we move forward? Others were proposing, let's sack, the minister should be sacked, or some technocrats should be sacked, or we should go to court. That's where they have divergent views. And in a view of bringing all their views together and leaving and mandating the state to pursue further with those who were believed to have imported the matter and also, imported the drugs, and also those who imported it, who exported it to the country, and as well as the manufacturers. So these are issues that need some international experts. For them to look at it, we needed the support of the United Nations, the WHO, and all the development partners to help us look deep into the matter and put it to rest. And also then we looked at weaknesses in the law or weaknesses in the institutions with the view of strengthening it. And the National Assembly Select Committee on Health looked at those issues, and there were recommendations, and the National Assembly accepted those recommendations and ensured that, and also mandated the Select Committee on Health to further engage government on the implementations of those recommendations and report to Parliament.
Do you believe somebody should have taken responsibility, being the medical board, being the ministry, whoever? Because in any civilized worlds, if things like this happen, people take responsibility.
Yeah, I think
losing 70 children.
Government took
there was negligence somewhere.
Government took responsibility, and the National Assembly took responsibility, and the state of the nation took responsibility, and ensured that the wrong are righted and rectified.
How? How did they do that?
Yeah, because I told you, there are a lot of investigations, a lot of committees and recommendations, and we are ensuring that those recommendations are implemented.
But nothing has happened. Nobody's been found wanting as we speak up to now.
The report was out.
It was
and I think there was some...
It is still at the other report has been handed over to the president.
Yes, there are some lapses. It's been implemented. All the recommendations will be implemented.
What are we didn't.
Yes, the National Assembly Select Committee on Health will report back to Parliament.
Will report back to Parliament.
Yes.
So we wait to hear from that. Now, still on the Parliament, a very important bill, the torture bill, has been passed. Very important, because the Gambia has never had that. And even when people are found, people have been, the TRRC, people say, will not be even properly implemented if we don't have a torture bill. Now we have that, and a lot of people applauded the National Assembly for passing that. And it was a bipartisan, it was passed on bipartisan manner, everybody supported it, which is very much laudable. What is happening to the anti-corruption bill? It has taken the longest to pass out of all these bills. Is there a political will from both sides, the government and the National Assembly, to have an anti-corruption commission in the Gambia?
Yeah, there is a political will 100%, because that is the reason why government brought it to Parliament, and the National Assembly as an institution is very committed towards passing the bill, and it's progressing well.
Why is it slow?
No, it's not slow. You know,
No,
it's not slow. You know, it has processes. Now it's passing. You know, in the National Assembly, we have a lot of stages. The bill will pass through a lot of stages, and then it have gone to almost all the stages and left with only one stage or two, and most likely.
I spoke to the honorable member of Serekunda during the last session.
Which Serekunda?
Honorable Madi Sise.
That's Serekunda West.
Yes, and we spoke about, there was when the torture and the SOEs and all this. I wanted to have an update on what was happening at the National Assembly. So he updated us as to all these great bills that have been passed. But he was worried that, yes, the anti-corruption bill will be passed, but he is worried that it was going to be watered down to nothing absolutely. Because if most of the powers, it is not about just passing the bills, it is about what is in that bill. Are you worried that most of the powers, the independency of the bill, making the commission powerful and all of that, as to, for example, who hires the commissioners, the powers of the commission and all of those things, if all of them are watered down to zero, how important is that going to be, that commission going to be?
I don't think it will be watered down. And, you know, all pieces of legislation are proposals and tabled before the National Assembly.
Mm-hmm.
That is the National Assembly that will look at it with the view of either to amend or delete or rearrange or reorganize for the best interest of the nations. And I don't think the National Assembly have any intention or will with the intention of rendering it negatory. That is not the wish and the objective of any member of the National Assembly, and I don't see it coming. We are not joining to that.
Are you optimistic this session coming we will be seeing the bill passed?
Of course.
And it will be a very strong and independent.
It will be passed, and the members of the National Assembly are looking at it, and it is committee stages will continue. I remember we started it during the last session, but it did not meet the required days before the Assembly adjourned signed line to continue. So it will continue from there this session.
June, is it 6th? The President will do the
June 8th.
June 8th, State of the Nation address. Here you will welcome the President again. It's always a day where Assembly members have the opportunity to welcome His Excellency the President to address the Parliament and also address the nation and put agenda as to what direction they will take for that year. What are we expecting this year?
Yes, we are expecting the President to come and tell us the policy directions of the government, and as well as his government anticipated proposals, piece of legislations, or the infrastructural development in all sectors of the country. He tells us the state of affairs of the Gambia in terms of economy, in terms of infrastructure, in terms of human rights, in terms of tranquility, in terms of peace, security, in terms of every sector that we will hear from the President to tell us, from judiciary to law to human rights to good governance to agriculture, health. What is the state of the nation? What his government were able to do over the last couple of months or years, what he intends to do in 2023 in the medium term, long term. So that's what he is going to tell us. It's an annual thing where President will come. It's a constitutional mandate. He will come and fulfill the constitutional mandate of him as the Commander-in-Chief of the Gambian Forces and President of the Republic of the Gambia to address us and to brief us on the state of affairs. Followed which members of the National Assembly will look at his address, what he informed Parliament, and also how they also intend to contribute and which thing could be done in line with his statement.
A lot of people say the last State of the Nation, after the State of the Nation address, when we had reactions from the different parliamentarians, even different civil society members, people believe the president did not touch on the basic issues that were confronting the people. For example, during that time, I know now it has lessened. During that time, there were a lot of robberies, armed robbery going on, and there were high in prices, and the president did not really handle these things. Are we looking at a different, are we expecting a different thing today? Because to be honest, if you're telling us everything is looking good and fine, and we are not feeling that in our homes, people don't get to connect with that statement.
I'm not sure, but I remember he talks about crime rate, not the last one, I'm not sure when, you know, sometimes also you don't expect probably, sometimes you may expect to omit one or two things or other issues. It may not necessarily be deliberate, but is as a result of human omission. Because you remember all the sectors in the country. So this is huge, every sector. And then some sectors will come up with a statement or probably of a book of probably 20 pages on one sector, and it have to be summarized to accommodate each and every sector, so that to allow him probably to read, to tell Gambian in each sector along the line. Some issues might have probably come into his mind or his technicians for him to address the National Assembly, but during the editing, one reason or the other is being removed unintentionally just to accommodate the rest. But it may not be intentional, but maybe probably what could have done to see President comes to Parliament more than once or twice in a year or 3 times, so that if he covered this area in the first quarter, maybe in the second quarter or his next address, he will probably, things that he omitted, he will come and inform. But nonetheless, these are policies of government and policy directions and programs that are already there. And we have people and institutions that are tasked and assigned by the president to do that on his behalf. For example, when we talked about robbery, if he did not mention it, but that doesn't mean the Ministry of Interior, the Army, and the police, and others who are in charge of protecting the country against whether internal or external aggressions and the maintenance of internal peace and security and order, they will continue to do that daily. And also, you know, you have this National Security Council, where also, of course, the president also address it, and it doesn't mean one way or the other. Once the president omitted something in Parliament, that means the whole of that year, that issues will not be addressed. No, it's just to come and brief us. And then when you are briefing somebody, you're summarizing, that doesn't mean any matter or issue that you have not briefed, you will not be dealt with. So Gambians should be rest assured that whether the president highlights certain things in Parliament or not, we have institutions of states that are acting for and on behalf of the presidency and the state and the Gambian people. They will continue to deliberate, they will continue to act on those things, they will continue to serve the Gambian people.
Now let's talk about politics. You are the deputy spokesperson of the National People's Party, an integral part of that party. A lot of people say you are the tactician of the National People's Party. What happened? During the presidential election, you guys, the National People's Party president won with over 200,000 vote margin nationally. And I don't think even Yame gets that. President Barrow got that when people thought the election was going to be close. National Assembly, when it comes to the number of seats, yes, you won with about 2 or 3 seats, but you lost the popular vote. You come to the councillors election, you lost the popular vote. Yes, you won with 2 or 3.
No, we did not lose the popular vote in the parliamentary.
I can give you all the popular votes.
We did not lose the popular vote in the parliamentary.
Yes, you lost the popular vote in parliamentary.
No.
I have the numbers. I can look at it. But I have it. I can tell you lost the popular vote. You come to the mayoral election, you had 4 and the opposition had 4, but you lost the popular vote. What happened?
Yeah, thank you very much. You know, the presidential election, the National Assembly election, local council election, mayors and chairperson elections, the approach are different. We have issues of personalities, issues of regions, issues of constituencies, and issues of wards. And of course, also parties approach it differently. But whatever happened in the parliamentary, local government, and mayors and chairpersons, the National Assembly have learned. And we have learned, and we are ready to rectify if there are any mistakes and to move on. On the issue of mayoral and chairpersons, we have 4, they had 4, but we control 5 councils in the country.
What do you mean you control 5 councils?
Yeah, we control BCC, Kerewan Area Council, Kuntor Area Council,
BCC, the mayor is opposition.
Janjamburi Area Council, and Pasi Area Council.
Are you talking about the councillors?
Yeah, the mayor is opposition, but the deputy mayor will be NPP, and as well the NPP will control the council.
No, the thing is that
let me come.
You are not. Let's get that right.
No, let me come.
You are not controlling the Banjul City Council.
The
mayor is opposition.
No, we are control.
Just because
we lost the mayoral, the office of the mayor in BCC,
yeah.
But we are in control of the Banjul City Council. That is clear. We have 7 councillors. The mayor got 2 councillors, and there are 9 councillors that have the voting right in BCC. And the 7 councillors that have voting right are the NPP, and they'll be the deputy mayor.
Would it not have been better if you control the councillors and also get the mayor?
No, let me finish.
Let's start with Banjul.
Yeah, yes. The results,
Uh-huh.
we had 4,
yeah,
and we control 5 councils, but that's not the desired results of the NPP.
What went
our
wrong
desired,
in Banjul?
Our desired results.
What went wrong? Let's start with Banjul. What went wrong in Banjul? You had 7 out of 9 councillors. You were poised. Everybody said you were going to win. When the separate report came, I said, no, this is not possible because NPP with 7 councillors. What went wrong?
Yeah, I may not be in a position to discuss, in my opinion, or in our party's position, what went wrong. But as a party, we will sit down and look at it holistically. We know what went wrong, and we know it could have been avoided. But I am not in the position to discuss or to disclose that here now. But on behalf of the Secretary General and party leader and the entire executive of the National People's Party, we want to thank each and every member and supporter of the NPP. And when we believe that everybody contributed his or her quota during the mayoral chairmanship, the council, parliamentary, and presidentials. However big or small that contribution is, everybody have contributed. And now Banjul. We could have, our desired result was to win the entire mayors and chairpersons in the country. But we won 4 and we controlled 5. That wasn't our desired results. But we are happy we came from not a single council.
Of course, you had 2.
Not a single...
you had 2.
No, the NPP never had any.
No, you had 2. The reason why I said you had 2, Sekou Jawara of CRR Nord had moved from GDC and taken the seat to NPP. Sirifo Sonko had also moved from UDP to NPP. So you had 2 already.
No, let me comment.
You had 2.
No, we went.
You had your chairmen in those 2 seats.
No, let me comment. The National People's Party went into the elections without a chairman.
You had 2.
Without, we only have 2 councillors. That's the London Corner and the Kerr Fatou when we went for the by-elections on the NPP. We had no councillor, we had no chairperson.
You had 2.
We went into the elections, we had about 52, now with our partners, 62 councillors throughout the country, from 2, NPP 2 to 52. We went into the chairmanships and mayoral elections without a chairman or mayor to 4, and also control 5 councils out of the 8 councils.
You know very well, Seedy. You have been in the APRC. You know more than anybody. You cannot don't bring the power of diplomacy here in this interview. You know very well the power of incumbency in politics. You guys, you control the presidency. You have all the resources. You have all the support from the alcalos, from the sefos, from village heads. And yet, as a party, you have not been able to do well in all these 3 elections. Yaya Jammeh, the entire 22 years, has not ever won with 2 margin or 3 elections. He won National Assembly with huge margin.
No, let me come in.
Councillors with huge margin. chairmanships, he gets all. So don't tell me we're coming from zero.
We went into the elections, we had a satisfactory results. Remember, we are building democracy. And the National People's Party is founded on the basis of democracy and rule of law and good governance.
But you have not done differently, anything differently.
Of course.
When it comes to alcalos,
they have
campaigning for you.
No.
Yes, they are.
Have you ever...
I can call names of alcalos for you that we have interviewed on Kerr Fatou who are supporting the National People's Party openly.
No, let me come in. You see, as members of the media and members of civil society or members of the civil service, there is no law that bar them from belonging to political parties. That needs to be clear. There is no law that bar you, members of the media, to belong to the political parties or manifest such.
Yeah.
What the law is saying, you cannot hold executive position in those parties.
Yeah.
There is no chief or alcalo or members of the civil service you can name who hold executive position in our party. Now, there is no member of the civil service who you have record in a political gathering, political rallies, addressing a political rallies. Never.
I don't want to call out names, but there are.
No, never.
Governors.
Never.
Governors.
In our political rallies,
yes.
You see a governor.
Let me tell you,
making political statements.
See, one thing, a lot of one thing that the president was applauded. One thing that the president was applauded for, especially when he came, and I am one of those people who believe in President Barrow's tolerance and all of that, and I've said it, and I've said it openly.
Very tolerant.
Very tolerant.
He's very democratic.
But when the president came, when the president came, he said he will not.
Okay, let me finish this thing first.
Okay, go ahead.
So now, when you looked at that, the president is journeying along the path of true democracy that has been manifested in our elections process and processes, from voter registration to presidential campaigns, elections, post-presidential elections, to parliamentary, local, to mayors and chairmen, completing the election cycle for this period. And it's his institutional, he's running the day-to-day affairs of the country. All of us today, members of the media, enjoys liberties, press freedom, freedom of association, to belong to organizations, political affiliations without any hindrance. That is the legacy that President Adama Barrow and the National People's Party.
That is a very coded, and I don't want to delve into that.
To your opinion, but every individual, every citizen of this country, and every interest organizations, multilateral and national, who are following and also is a keen follower of our democratization credentials in the country, we are second to none. We are journeying towards perfection.
Let's go back to politics. We dealt with Banjul. Seedy.
Yeah, Banjul, as I said,
yeah,
we are in control of the council.
Okay.
We are going to be the deputy mayor, and we're going to run the affairs of the council. We have, for example, if things are to be tabled by the mayor, he has 2 votes. She has 2 votes.
You guys have
we have 7 votes.
So you're in control of Banjul?
Yes.
KMC?
Yeah, we lost KM, we lost West Coast, and
Seedy,
we lost,
let's deal with KM.
And we lost.
Seedy, let's look at KM. NPP brought its biggest assets to KM. They brought their biggest tactician, Seedy Njie, to come and head the KM campaign with their campaign manager, Lamin Cham. They run and managed the campaign. They even brought their most powerful woman, Maimuna Balde, from the CRR to come to KM and campaigned for the KM seat. The NPP also brought all of their ambassadors who they believed, Papa Njie, who ran in KM in 2018, the Rambo Jata, who ran on KM ticket in 2018. You also brought in Fabakary Tombong Jatta. The speaker is from KM. The former mayors, Yankuba Koli, Lai Conte. All of you, the president himself, headlined all of major rallies in KM. and you still lost Seedy. What happened?
Yeah, we, as I said, our desired objective was to win KM, West Coast, Banjul, the entire country. But that couldn't happen. And we've learned what went wrong.
What was it? Was it a campaign candidate?
We had good candidates. We had good candidates who were equal to the task. But along the way, we could not win. But that doesn't mean that we had bad candidates. We had very good candidates, and we had a very good run. And when you look at the figures from the council elections, the ward council elections, to parliamentary elections, we have improved significantly. But the desired objective was to take over KM, take over any other councils and mayors and municipalities in the country. That did not happen. We will not rest on our laurels. We'll go back to the drawing board and start to work now.
We will not rest.
And we want to thank everybody.
We will not rest. We learn our mistake. Then what's the KM? Seedy.
No, that's it.
Is it because you did not put a plan for the people of KM? Why KM? They're very aware. I have not seen, personally, I have not seen a plan that your campaign brought on the table to say, this is what we had of KM. Instead, it was more about, and when I spoke to Talib, even after the election, his argument is the people of KM chose fear, chose division and fear. They chose competence over fear and division. It was believed, the general rumor is this. Let me finish. The general argument was this.
That is false.
The general argument was.
Okay, let me finish first.
No, let me finish. I'm putting my question. The general argument was, you guys, it was more about attacking Talib, painting him a certain way, a certain tribe, a certain person on political platforms that was never addressed by your candidate or any of you. And people thought that was going personal instead of giving a plan. Is that the reason why you thought you lost KM?
Yeah, that is not accurate. To say that they have chosen or I don't
competence
know what, over fear
or division.
No, if there is any fear, people will fear his leadership and that of his party, not the NPP. You yourself have attested to the fact that we are very tolerant. Our party leader is very tolerant and is very democratic and is very measured. And that is the NPP. Every Gambian knows that when you want to talk about peaceful parties and parties that probably are very tolerant and parties that resonate with the peaceful nature of the Gambian is the National People's Party. And as a party, we have programs and policies for Kanifing municipality.
Why was it not visible?
Among which is visible.
No,
We've highlighted it.
were not.
Maybe probably you didn't have the opportunity to engage a candidate or
they ran away from me.
And when
your
you
candidates
look,
from Banjul and KM ran away
let me
from
finish.
me. Only see this is a
Let me finish. And when you looked at our program, we presented to the electorate of all the country. For example, we have seen over the last 5 years on the Talib Ahmed Bensouda, he have not made any meaningful or capital investment or development in KM. Beside the flowers, beside fencing of the Bakote dump site, there is not a single project. For us,
I'm a resident of KM and I've seen some.
us,
but I am not here for Talib, but I'll let that go.
For us, our policies and programs, especially on waste management, because we believe that the municipality, the tax have been increased and also their shops and everything and the markets under Talib Ahmed Bensouda, we thought it is unfair, it is extortion to tax them highly and also to ask them to pay for the collections of garbage and also to finance the disposition of those garbage. We wanted to offer it free of services because, not free, because they are paying taxes to us as a council. We also wanted we have a plan of looking at ways and means of getting them a car park where the municipality of KM will be able to have a very conducive and suitable environment to use as a car park. We wanted to increase and construct more markets for them. We wanted to address issues of waste management once and for all. We wanted to address the issue of feeder road in KM, because for the last 5 years, on the Talib Ahmed Benso, they have not constructed a single 1 meter, square meter of feeder road in KM. Not a single road is there. You see, it's not about the media propaganda and PR, but it's about services that you deliver and bring to the doorsteps of people of municipality. You talked about, you said you have increased the revenue. Of course, you will increase the revenue because you have increased their trades, their tax and duties, and everything is expensive and is responsible of hiking prices daily in the markets and within the municipality. And those monies, where are those monies? Where have you pumped those monies? It talks about you got trucks, vehicles to collect waste and garbage. After 1 year, they are all parked in the garage. They all have mechanical issues. Were they brand new vehicles, or were they scrap and only painted? And because of it's involved huge lot of monies. Where are those monies that were used, probably as a collateral or as a loan, or that you use to get those vehicles? Today, they are not on the roads. They are all off the roads.
I think this is why, let me come in here. I think this is why this right here is why the NPP lost KMC. Let me get the reason why.
No.
Number one, let me come.
You are not Talib. No, just ask me a question. Don't say that. No. You cannot hold brief for the UDP. Only ask me a question. No. You cannot hold brief. If you hold brief, I will not answer that question.
I'm not holding brief.
You cannot hold brief. Okay.
But I am a journalist. I need to fact check you.
Just fact check.
I'm going to fact check you.
All right, because if they represent the UDP, I will not answer.
I'm a resident of KM. You're making me laugh.
Me too.
I'm a resident of KM.
I grew up.
I can tell you all the 19 vehicles are on the road, number one. So if you come to me as a KM voter,
ask me for the question.
Let me tell you.
That you cannot tell.
No, let me tell you. I'm just fact checking some of the things. Let me tell you something. This is why you guys lost the election. Because the things that you were telling the voters are saying it's not the wrong things. The cars, all the 19 trucks are on the road.
Wait.
Talib has built 4 markets.
No, let me come in.
4 markets.
No, let me come in.
Talib has built 3 roads.
All right, can I come
So
in?
if you're telling...
No, let me come in.
If you're telling the voters this, they will not believe you because they know that what you're telling them and what they experience is different.
Let me come in. Now.
Yeah.
Now, you are on the UDP aisle.
No, I'm not on the UDP aisle.
You are Talib PR.
No, I'm not. See, this is your problem. How am I Talib PR?
Now, can you name
I am not Talib PR.
Can you name me the 4 roads?
I will. I know they are.
Can you name me the 4
roads? I know markets in Bakau and Sirajete Road something, but I know they built 4 roads.
There is not a single road.
They have built 4 roads.
There is not a single
Seriously,
road.
they have built 4 roads.
There is not a single road.
And they built 3 markets.
For example, the roads in Bakau are built by a central government.
I'm not saying that.
No, I'm just telling you.
I'm saying from the taxpayers, they built 4 roads.
Name, from the central government.
I am not Talib PR, so I wouldn't be able to tell you. I'm not Talib PR, so I would not be able to tell you exactly. But I can just Google it now and then I will tell you.
Can I come in?
If you allow me.
Can I come in?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, you can Google it.
Go ahead.
You can ask one of the... You see,
I'm not asking nobody.
I can tell you.
See, this is you guys. No, let me tell you one problem. Go ahead.
No, let me tell you. He have not built a single road. There was this false media propaganda that one road in Bakau, he have not built a single road in KM municipality. Wallahi, they cannot bring a single road in KM. He have not built that. He have not built a single market. That is false. To the contrary, they said they have renovated markets.
They have built 3.
No.
And renovated some.
Which market? Can you name them?
Fatou market something. Where? And Bakau also they built a market.
Fatou market where? You said Fatou market something where?
They built 3 markets.
Where?
That I know. They have built 3 markets. They have built 3 markets.
I said Fatou.
See, the thing is, I am not their PR, so I wouldn't know this by head. But I do know they have built. The reason why I know is because we have covered these candidates. We have covered these chairmen and mayors.
Let's move to another. This
is why. This is the main reason why you guys lost, because the information that you give people.
No, that one.
And my thing is, KM. My thing is.
Let's move to the next municipality.
No, let me talk about. I'm still on KM.
Yes, go ahead.
KM is very important because
let's move to the next.
Indecent assets.
Go ahead. Now we went to KM. For us, we are so 100% that the majority of the citizens of KM after today are NPP. There are a lot of factors that led to Talib victory against our candidate. But, and what we are sure of, Talib have not bring any development to the people of KM. And as a party in government, President Adama Barrow is committed to building KM to standard. And plans are on the offing to kickstart those projects.
Your candidate was a serving minister, and he had done tremendously well when it comes to Gambian football. Why was it difficult for you guys to bring his record against Talib's record? Instead, it was more about attacking Talib's record. When I spoke to Rohilo, she said something, and that really stood out for me during an interview. She said, when I said, Ibu Fai Mune Baro definitely, I mean, we have seen what the Banjul project has been doing in Banjul, right? And I brought that up. She said, Ibu Fai bum laho si gannaaw Baro. Nanyu Ibu Fai lan la def against what I did, because Ibu was running an institution. Now in KM, Bakari ran the ministry for some years now, and Talib ran the KMC for 5 years. Would that not have been the yardstick to measure both of them?
See,
why didn't you guys
make
it visible?
When you look at, if you were following Bakari's campaign,
I was following.
Maybe probably because your media house was not probably following him to bring to light of his campaign messages and his programs.
We were following keenly.
He have delved extensively on his successes as Minister of Youth and Sport, and in fact his contributions and his ministry's contributions in KM and other municipalities and councils, and his plans and programs for the Kanifing municipality if he got elected. But probably for one reason or the other, we lost the election. And we commend everybody, all those who voted for us and those who contributed one way or the other. And we have not also brought in all ambassadors and all people for KM. Citizens of KM, citizen of KM decided to come, some of them decided to come on board.
Deputy Speaker Mungi KM. Campaign
manager. Allow me to, when you make
President was KM.
No, I'm responding to what you ask.
Yeah.
Allow me to make my point.
Go ahead.
Now, we had people who are from KM. You talked about Fabaka Tomongjada from KM.
Yeah.
You talked about Papanjai or Rambo, they are from KM.
Yeah.
You talked about also others who also the UDP, they're all from KM, and they went to KM to support.
Yeah.
And we value KM. And our desire was to get KM. And whatever we could do, we think would add value for us getting KM. We were at liberty to do that within the remits and limits of the law. And that's what we have done. And as I said, we've lost it to Bensouda. But we will not rest on our laurels. We'll continue to reorganize and remobilize our people, and also to take a stock of what went wrong, where, how, and what we could do to mitigate it.
West Coast, what happened in West Coast? My uncle Seedy.
Yeah, some of the issues are cross-cutting, and we will deal with them internally and move on.
Is it because of the fraction that happened with Ahmed Njie? Do you think that played a part?
No, not necessarily, because we are over 50-something thousand votes.
52, yeah.
He had 6,000 votes.
6,000, yeah.
But if you look at possible votes that could have probably come to the NPP, if you've looked at the independents, Ahmed Njie, other independents, combine them together, it's beyond 80,000 votes. Beyond the threshold of Yankuba. So party discipline also, where you bring everybody on board, also matters, so that your votes are not divided. Because once they are divided, you may risk losing. Even you talked about the council's election, the ward councillors. You talked about members of the National Assembly. We have one constituency. You have 2-3 members of either constituency or regional executive of NPP contested as independent against the NPP candidate. You have 4 or 3 in most constituencies in the country, and only 2 of them is more than 50% of the vote cast. We come to ward elections, the council elections. We have seen in the history of the Gambia almost close to 100 independents. In each ward, when you add the one independent NPP and also the independent candidate, is more than 50% of the vote cast. So these are some of the issues that we will look at. That is why party discipline, in fact, in other jurisdictions in the world, you don't have independent candidates to contest elections in parliament or in council or in presidentials, because it's a recipe for destruction and to destabilization, because they belong to no political parties. And those are offices of trust. And people believe once they are elected into those offices, they should fulfill the social contract they had with the people. And the best way of bringing development and to be equal to that agreement with the Gambia, with the electorate in each constituency, is to belong to a political party that has programs and policies and direction to be able to represent them. So once you are independent, you may lack those things. So all these things also need to be looked into.
You lost the LRR, but you won in North Bank, in Basse, obviously the president's home, CRR's North and South, your own area. You did not even go there to campaign. You were so, I spoke to you a few days before election because I was getting some information that CRR was getting close. And I said, Seedy, yangi talk fi sa kir dinañ la fa daanel, and you said, demal tëdda nelaw. We have done our homework and we are optimistic we're going to win. Lan ngeen def in those areas for them to continue supporting the NPP that you are not being able to achieve in these areas?
Yeah, you know, in our area, we are close to our people. We do our best to represent them and to be equal to the task, and as well as for them to see themselves in us and we see ourselves in them. And then the connections are there, and you know, mayor calls, for example. And in our areas, for example, we win all the polling stations, all the streams. We commend them for probably listening to us and for trusting us and believing in us. And we also continue to reach out to them to fulfill the social contract we had with them. It's not easy to represent your people, but it's very important to be at their level and for them to feel that you are part of them. And there are other issues that we may not, but with all the politics that was done in our areas, in our absence, but they decided to be loyal to us. And that we take pride, and also the people of URR, because of the president. He have done huge infrastructural development there as well, as in CRR as well, CRR North and South. He has brought tremendous development area of road infrastructure, energy, and all educational infrastructure and health. And our people also, like any other Gambian, are grateful to a grateful president.
A lot of people, after the election, your own party supporters said, NPP, Alpha, regional. I'm just going to be honest, I listened to these audios. It's your own party militants who have started coming out frustrated and said, Ibe Plazo to, kabring President Karte Fayobanda ninge kumandi mbuke soto, wala tina lose the combo bela. They said a lot of your officials have grown so big to the point they don't even listen to the ordinary party militant. And they you know, there were certain people who even said, even mayor celebrations, mark kabring election of Butala, inyina tanale mbukan danku niye quality soto ibuke yela official kono. To those people, what do you say?
I am not privy to
I have
those,
listened to, I'm telling you.
Yeah, I'm not privy to those complaints.
Yeah.
But if they do happen, we want to apologize. And I believe that our President Adam Barrow, he's accessible, he's easily reachable, he is tolerant, and he listens to people, and he connects easily. And that's the instruction he gave us. We are doing our best to see him as a mentor and as a leader who we could learn from, and we will do our best to listen to the complaint of the people, to listen to their issues and to addressing them. I just want to say that whether you are a politician or not a politician, you should be able to hear your people.
Yeah.
They should be able to access you. They should be able to engage you, so that the end objective would be, if there are any issues, you address it. For example, if you're an intelligence officer and you don't talk to people, you don't pick their calls, you don't allow people to talk to you, how would you get rumors from them where you'll be able to pick some intelligence and process them, and then produce them as intelligence? So I used to have an elderly man who was a retired UN employee when I was going to school, when I was in junior school and senior school, Serekunda, Kutu and Nusrat. He used to take me extramural classes. He will tell me this thing. He said, if you don't hear from people, if they don't access you, how would you get information? How would you improve? How would you know their welfare? How would you know their concern? How would you address those concerns? So if any one of us is doing that, we should adjust and change for better. And then look at the president. If you call him, he will return your call if you don't. If for one reason or the other he's busy. Whenever you knock his doors, you want to meet him, he will allow you to go and see him. So he serves as an inspiration, and he should serve as an inspiration to all of us. He's a public officer. You are in the office. I'm an officer. I'm a deputy speaker or a member of the National Assembly because of the National People's Party is in government. I'm a managing director or I'm a minister because President Adam Barrow gave me that responsibility. What should I do is to serve the interest of the Gambian people. That is the interest of the president. That's why they voted him in power. Now, if you are not doing that to the best of your ability, you are breaching the social contract you have with the Gambian people and the president. So we want to thank everybody, those who participated.
Is it because of the division in your party? That's why you're losing elections? It's evident there is division. We have heard the audio from Ibrahim Sise, the secretary to cabinet, where we have also had different groups of people coming out, even your alliance members, you know, how other members of your party are pointing fingers to say, why is the APRC influenced? If you said they are influenced, why are they not pulling out their influence? And there's this perception that there's this division between the members of the party that came from UDP and the Seedy Njie camps. All of these things, and you know, it's you cannot deny this. We have seen it. We have heard it. We have even heard audios from you yourself leaking out, telling them, man suma kër suma nelawee tey sax dañ may saanil te saanil lañ la. Waaye ñoom seen kër yi duñ si win. And we can cite people who have not won in their areas. There is division. You cannot deny that. Is that the reason why your party is losing in these elections in Sibori?
Maybe not to the level that probably you are insinuating.
But there is.
You know, wherever you have 3 or 4 people, there are bound to be some misunderstanding or some disagreement. But the objective is, at the end of the tunnel, to agree. And if divisions happen in any organization, it's a recipe for damages. And I want to appeal that, and that is the appeal of the leadership, that all members of the National People's Party should unite, should reconnect, and should forget if there are ever any... If there are ever differences during selection process or processes of candidates, that's bound to happen in internal democracy, they should put that away and look at the interests of the party and to consolidate our political gains. And there are a lot of factors that led to us being defeated in KM, West Coast,
and that is one of them.
But we may not rule out that also as a factor. But you know, when you have more membership than any other person, probably
that is questionable now.
When you lead
that is questionable.
Okay, let me finish. I'll respond to that.
Okay.
So when you lead a fire where you have more heaps, more grasses, you know, that fire, there are a lot of flame, more smoke than when you have a smaller heap of fire. So maybe because of that, you are hearing a lot of noise from our camp, but that does not mean that it is beyond repair or beyond unification. We are not joining to the path of destruction.
You're not joining to the path of destruction. This is Lord. And today, before I came to this interview, I saw the APRC, your main alliance, you know, then we got to reconcile them. The APRC, the NATO alliance, and the main factor, they want to reconcile, and they think it's better for them to work on their party and move on. If the APRC leaves the NPP today, what is going to be the fate of the NPP?
No, I don't see APRC walking away from the alliance. But nonetheless, we are deeply rooted in the country, and it has manifested during the last presidential, parliamentary, local, and these elections. For example, in KM, our alliance, and then also those who say there are no alliance, they put up a candidate, and I don't think he had 1/5 of or 1/10 of the results of the NPP candidates.
So you think even if they leave, then you will be fine?
No, they are not leaving. I don't see them leaving.
You don't see them leaving? No. I believe you when you say. Finally, Seedy, to the notion, especially from the UDP camp, that...
And let me also address these things. You talked about, you said various camps. You know, the National People's Party is founded by membership coming from all political parties.
Yeah.
Those who are PPP, NCP, APRC, UDP. It's not a party of UDP or APRC. It's members who form National People's Party. Those who were there before the formation, and those who joined after the formation before the launching, and those who came to the launching, and those who joined after the launching, and those who joined today, and those who will join tomorrow. We are all equal.
The notion is Seedy, ma wax la ñu ne Seedy Njie ak groupe bi ñu jël parti bi nangu ko si ñoom Alkali Konte ñoom Maimouna Cissé ak ñi ñu ne Seedy ak Demba Sabally ñoo jël parti bi nangu ko ñoom ñooy buum di buumi ñoom ñooy dogal ñoom ñoo amee everything ñoom ñooy lépp lii mooy wax bi dama lay wax rek mu leer.
No, that is
tey
no, that is
ñu ne Demba Sabally mu ngi Europe di organize Congress of the diaspora when Maimouna Cissé is the diaspora secretary. Loolu naka la mun a nekkee te yëgul ko kampi Maimouna ngee xuloo ñi lee ngee xuloo ñu ne lii moo xew si looy tontu si loolu foog ñu wax
lu may wax that is wrong because Seedy Njie, I'm a deputy spokesman. I'm a junior executive member. I'm not a senior executive member in the party. And I've been there when the party was being formed, and others also were there when the party had been formed. But for me, how I view and receive members who joined yesterday and tomorrow is them and me, we are equal. We are all members of the party. I have only one vote. They have only one vote. And I should implore, and as a party, our primary objective and responsibility is to keep those people who are members of the party and to go and bring more people and maintain all of them. Because that's the shortest way of us getting victory. And I will do whatever it takes to serve the interests of the party, because that is what is keeping me in government. And it's our responsibility, each and every one of us. You hold fort of your area where you have a grip on. X also hold his area, X holds his area, Demba and Fatou and Adama and Ibrahima, together will have a larger percentage of the Gambian people. Now, to the notion that whole grip. I'm a junior executive member, by the way. I'm a deputy. Now, I am a deputy. Everybody knows that. I am not a senior executive member. I'm a junior executive member of the party. Even though in governance, I hold a senior position. The Congress, the diaspora, my understanding as a party, that they wrote to the party and inviting people to their Congress. And I also understand also they invited the secretary, the diaspora, and the deputy national president, the first deputy national president, Demba Sabali, and I understand the youth president, the deputy resource mobilizations and strategy, and also a corporate executive member. They decided to grace the Congress for and on behalf of the National People's Party. I would call on all parties to restrain and to maintain decorum. If there are any issues, they could be best
the diaspora secretary knew about the Congress.
Yes.
If the party should send anybody, she's the head of the diaspora.
Yes,
Why is she not there?
She knew about the Congress. That's my understanding, and that also, according to my findings, she was also invited by the organizers. But I'm not sure why she couldn't make it. But also, she's on an official mission, parliamentary mission in South Africa. She's a member of the Pan-African Parliament. And currently, she's in Midrand, South Africa. Maybe that must have been one of the reasons why she couldn't join them. But my understanding that most of us were invited by them, including myself. I understand.
So there's no problem there?
No, problems are bound to happen, and probably others might view it as not the right time. Others will see it as the best time. Others will probably see it differently. But we want everybody in the diaspora to come on board. And I understand that even in his statement, the first deputy national president indicated that he's representing the party and the party leader and all of us. Meaning the party leader is also in the know of
because that's the argument. Some people said he was directed by the party leader to do this, and other people said no, the party leader did not even know about this.
No, he did not do that. But the organizers themselves, some of our members in the diaspora, organized and invited the party.
Oh, so it was not okay.
And they invited party officials. And my understanding is the secretary diaspora was also invited, and I understand also I was also invited, and the party leader was invited, and some other members of the party, I understand, were invited. But for one way or the other, we could not attend, but we will call for cessation of hostilities among members of the diaspora, and also for any other grief individuals or chapter to channel it, to transmit it to the National People's Party. We call for decorum, we call for discipline, we call for tolerance, and we call for calm until we address issues. I understand that the first Deputy National President, of course, engages the party leader prior to his departure.
Finally, to the notion, especially from the opposition camp, that wax nañ leen ko NPP dañ flood on suñ voter rota bi with foreign voters moo taxit buñ winee président ba tey mënuñoo win dara when it comes to popular vote. They stole the election from us, and that is why consistently for the last 3 cycles they have not been able to win the popular vote. What would be your response to that?
That is the lie of the 21st century. That is not accurate. It's false.
And I said 200,000 margin.
Of course, for example, you look at the voter turnout during the parliamentary election. You look at the low turnout of local council. You see, it's norm in the Gambia that they don't turn out to vote subsequent elections after the end of presidential election. But if you look at the voter turnout
in the
mayoral, it's high.
It's high this time.
It's telling you
for
that
the first time in the history of the Gambia.
Exactly. It's telling you that the voters and votes are there. And
but
then
even when it's high,
it's very
you did not win the popular vote.
It's very unfortunate for people to trade such allegations, which is false. You know, there were processes and procedures for people to allow. For example, like in Banjul, in fact, it is known for UDP. The mayor of Banjul gave attestations illegally. And she brought in people, even this mayoral elections, she brought in a lot of people from outside Banjul, in North Bank, in CRR, and in KM, which she registered. And citizens of Banjul took it upon themselves and went to court. And the court ruled that she don't have the authority to issue attestations because she is neither an alcalo nor a chief. And what could have been done was to go further, to either to go to the court or to revise in court or to go to the further court to seek for declaration of those voters' cards as null and valid.
To disfranchise Gambians?
No, not to disfranchise Gambians.
Because if you take
because
them out
issued,
of the
yes,
voter,
yes, then they will go.
because they are still Gambians, whether they vote in Banjul or in KM, they are Gambians.
No, see,
as long as they're Gambians.
I'm not sure whether they are Gambian or non-Gambian. But what came to light was that they might be even non-Gambian.
Because I know alcalos who have also registered people from Janjam
let me
and
finish.
Sierra and others.
No, let me finish.
Yeah.
The alcalos have the legal standing
to
issue attestation.
Yes, that's true.
And the chief. But the mayor do not have that legal authority. And because she got people from nowhere, we don't know where they come from, and she issued attestations. And it came to light, they went to court, and the court said she don't have the authority to issue that. Then that means they could have seek a declaration to invalidate, to invalidate.
That means they're enfranchising Gambians.
Yeah, because
the court knew, yes, you didn't have the powers,
No, you know, it's processes.
Yeah.
That's where the court should stop. That's the powers of the court. They should have gone to the revising court to use those things. And then for them, if they are Gambian, they use Gambian document and go and register where they come from. So now that is telling you, the problem of Banjul, it's not about the Banjulian. It was the fraud in that voter registration which was perpetrated and masterminded by the Mayor Rohim Malik Law. That's the reason why she won by 1,000 vote plus, meaning she won the elections, of course, but because of that illegal action, she became the mayor.
Can we use the same argument that you guys
that is not
won because
that is not correct. That is not correct.
Because since then, under 2,000
that is false.
Under 200,000 margin.
They are there. You saw it. You saw them. That is false. That is false.
I'm asking. I'm just
that
saying.
Is false. Yeah, they're in the country.
Why have they not voted?
Yeah, because the voter apathy is low. If you look at the council, the mayor and chairman is higher. They are there. So, you know, the reason is, you see, you cannot, there is not a single member of the NPP. The president haven't given attestation to any Gambian. Okay, now, can I ask you this question?
Go ahead. I'm the one who should ask questions.
No.
Go ahead.
Because you are sitting on the other aisle.
No, I'm not sitting on any aisle.
No, you are taking brief for you.
This is my problem with you guys.
Okay, let me finish.
You including NPP.
Okay, let me ask you a question.
When people ask questions, you associate them with UDP.
Let me ask you a question. Okay, let me ask you a question.
Can you rectify that?
Okay, that's wrong.
Take it back. Take it back.
This is not parliament.
No, take it back.
This
is parliament. I mean, we are in the National Assembly.
All right.
Can you take that back?
Okay, withdrawn.
Okay, good.
Let me ask you a question.
Proceed.
Now, you saw a person, it was glaring, it was clear, it was on the news, for Himalaya issuing attestation.
Definitely, yes.
They went up to the court.
Yes.
The court said that was illegal.
Illegal, yeah.
You accepted that?
Yes, true. That happened.
Thank you.
That happened, yeah.
Now, do you think it is wrong for people to come to my house, sit down there, whether they want to sleep there, or they want to rest there, they want to have lunch or water or whatever reason, or they're taking a good, nice set or air, and the alcalo is next door, or the alcalo is in my compound. They are on the queue waiting to get their attestation. Is that illegal?
Let me say this.
No,
let me say this.
Let
me say this.
Is that illegal?
Let me say this.
No, you cannot.
It is wrong.
No. Answer first.
You cannot.
You answer and make a statement.
Let me say this.
No.
The court says it was wrong for Rohim Malik Law to do attestations, and I accept the ruling of the court. But it is also wrong, in my opinion, for the Minister of Local Government to host people in his residence to give registration, voter registration. That is wrong. Finally, let me say a message to the Gambian people, especially the NPP supporters.
Well, Len Grem, I want to thank all the supporters of the NPP for their contributions towards during the parliamentary, presidential, local government election, and all those who contributed one way or the other to the success of the National People's Party, giving us majority, giving us huge landslide victory in presidential election, majority in parliament, majority in councillors, and also controlling 4 area council and the mayor seat, the Banjul City Council. That's a huge achievement, and the work continues today towards the 2026 presidential election.
And who's your candidate for 2026?
His Excellency President Adamaro.
Third mandat. Through mandat. Third mandat. Yeah, Seedy. Thank you very much. And I've always said that you are my favorite NPP member. I have always said that, and I say it on record again. You always open to talking to us. Even today, the first stuff, you're always open to talking to us. And I think one thing I've always said that I appreciate about you, you have no grudges when it comes to Lunit Bindasi or Lunit Bindasi Waxio. That tolerance.
No vindictiveness.
Yeah, I've said this openly. Sometimes my guy been a maragal si election call ma suma harit man chatan ki yegu dara si yaramambi, but I appreciate that because lola public servant waramel, and I think you should teach a lot of your people that qualities. It's important because di wax ne damay boycott diw damay xeex kiw duma dem si diw loolu amul njëriñ. Tey maa ngi ne ñu ngi waxtaan affaire réew mi di waxtaan nga ma wax sa opinion, you agree, sometimes you disagree, but it's all in the interest of the nation. And in anywhere ñun ñëpp dafa am ku nekk fi nga dee bokka waaye nga bokka fi ma bokka fi taxut ñu nekk noon waaye dañ am disagreement in arguments, in beliefs, and I think it's important. That's one thing that I applaud you for all the time, and I say it on record all the time. You're my favorite NPP member, even though they agree with Dara, but you're my favorite. And thank you for this opportunity. Talking to you.
You're always welcome.
Don't want to president.
Thank you.
Don't want to president.
You're always welcome.
Man, barola buga toga.
You can go through the DPPR.
Sa yu nekk ba wax ami loolu si on télé suma anti la nag anti ami maa ngi laajte waat développement His Excellency na mën naa toog ak moom waxtaanam daf dee ne torop, especially when we speak in Mandinka. He speaks from his heart, and I think it's important. I really want to host him again on Kerr Fatou, and I look forward to hosting him. Until we come next week with another political figure, good night to you all, and bye-bye.
Airport Residency Estate is a gated community located in Old Yundum, proudly developed by Swami India, perfect for all looking for a quiet life with luxury amenities within an enclosed setting. When talking about the benefits of living in a gated community, safety and security is top on the list. They allow extra privacy, take away the hustle of unwelcome solicitors, and create a safe haven for children to play in a trusted environment without traffic or speedy vehicles. A great sense of community develops through the meeting at a controlled communal leisure facilities, offering an integrated lifestyle. A green environment and well-managed communal areas are keys to higher home standards, elevated quality of life, and better property value, should you consider home reinvestment in the future. Added to all is the location, just next to the airport and reconstructed main road, yet tucked in the tranquility of nature. Our purpose is one: your satisfaction. Contact us. Let us help you build your dream home in the Gambia.
yiriwa men kafutan na tarambuloluto nga GIA cargo complex parendile puruka julaya sone yandi kadungoni mfunti bunda na doko sembentu ya Banjul International Airport oto men si nyafa si moluma melka fengolu ki bantala bankolu kan anin julandingolu fana foysi sulan na cargo doko le bang katu masingolu bembulule ikafo meye forklifts melka selendiro nin jindiro ke bagasolu la melbe funti kan waranto ka dunnan na warehouse lu kono nga dinkira sumayari ngolu fana sotole ifula milla fano mu metar kemeleti karo bela adun isi cargo bagasolu tanole men sita fo ton tan woro ila sumaya fana futata tembeleto men ka fendolu mabono fo ikana tinya fo sene fengol lombang domori fengolu waranto jata kende ani bori ma fengolu cargo bagasolu la taradula kendo asulata jamani labang korosir langolu lela na double view x-ray korosir la masingolu aka cargo bagaso kono jubele komi cargo doko sartolu ya landi nyameng nyin double view x-ray amu jamani labang rapid scanaleti menka karafula korosiro keno cargo sifa bela wati kiringo kono to na doku lalo imu ayata karandingol leti miliyela doku no iframansata cargo doku na tamandiri nyato na doku la betea wayem futandi RA3 makamoleto mensa tinnafo nse cargo bagaso lu kinole kata UK aning EU banko lu kan GIA ka hakili tenkungo dila na doku woto ite nyina la men.
Every day is a new opportunity to make sure our first impressions are always our best and to see possibilities on the horizon, to make our facilities and services more accessible and find freedom all around us. With a location proximity to active markets, with a liberal air transportation policy, that daily pursuit is how we turn everyday opportunities for you. For all destination marketing support, customized packages for new existing airlines and operators, and for a highly ranked tourist destination, the Gambia Civil Aviation Authority is here to serve. We regulate air transport, operate and manage BIA technical requirements, merged with commercial considerations. We have experienced and well-trained aviation professionals to cater for your needs. For investment opportunities in building airport hotels, shopping malls, playground for children, do contact us on 4472-831, 4472-893. Gambia Civil Aviation Authority. We go beyond daily.